All right, let's get into it. Oh, what did you say? Did it get mod held or something? I'm sorry. There aren't really any mods here. Okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and get started. I'm gonna bring up some things to say as we get into it. Let me know if you can't hear or if it's too quiet. Oh, fucking
it's
what
blocked
happened?
for me. What's the... Can you give me a screenshot, or is it just is it just this? If we don't exclude you, we can't unite. What? Okay, I'll also show them. Yeah, go ahead and join stream chat. You can just like click into the stream channel. You should be able to.
Hey,
all right, what the fuck is going on? Listen, I've been harassed by so many people.
I want to say there's probably been some harassment coming her way and she doesn't deserve it. But I think also a lot of people equivocate getting quote tweeted and made fun of when you tweet a bad opinion as harassment, and it's not. Okay? Getting owned on Twitter is not harassment. Sorry. Now there is, that's not to say there isn't harassment going to her, because there is. And that's not deserved. You shouldn't be harassing people for that, for shit like that. You shouldn't be going on social media and actually participating in actual harassment, right? But if you quote tweet somebody and you say, that's dumb, that's not harassment.
What's one more, right? So
yeah,
go ahead.
Of course.
Yeah. You can go ahead, screen share.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a minute. I just have to open this up here.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and start recording. Yeah, she called me a pedo and blocked me on Twitter after I asked her to clarify what harm was taking place. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's going to be one of my big questions. That's going to be one of the questions that I ask, that you see me ask a lot in this video, is, well, what harassment is actually taking place? Why is my C drive full? Hang on. Is this not saving to the E drive? Recording. No, it records to, yeah, it records to the D drive. Okay, I'll figure that out later. I don't know what's going on with that. I have like 500 megabytes left on my C drive. I don't know. I find women sexually attractive, so does that mean women need to be kept away from the children? We'll touch on a little bit of everything. Don't worry, we'll get to everything.
All right. So here is the. Are you in the stream yet? Sometimes there's a delay.
All right, I'm looking at it.
All right. So you read this already, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Here's a clip.
Cool. So I thought it over.
Hang on. I'm gonna make this a little bit louder. It's gonna be hard to hear because she has her music playing in the background, which is usually about the same level as the voice. Which if you're a video producer, you know that's a mistake. You know you should be doing, the music is gonna be a little bit lower than the voice, ideally, right? You want the voice to be the prominent aspect of the video. You want the music to be a little bit lower. And if you actually look on a couple of her other videos, we need to remix those. Just saying. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to turn this up a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit loud, but this is, yeah, it's really, really quiet, so.
Three main purposes of Pride: to unite the LGBT community, to strengthen the community, and to celebrate the community.
So she said there are three main purposes that she finds in Pride: to celebrate the community, to strengthen the community, and to unite the community. Which really sounds like, it really sounds like you needed to make a list and didn't have a whole lot more to say, because all of those really are more or less the same thing, right? Because you're uniting the community during a celebration, which strengthens the community. right? It's all the same thing, right?
My position on kink, and especially as it relates to children, is that letting kink, and I'm focusing very specifically on kink because I feel like a lot of people get away from this, in the pride completely unregulated means that...
Hang on, did you see what she did there? She's focusing on kink, and specifically kink which is completely unregulated. Now she's going to bring that up a lot. She's going to bring that up a lot because that is her, that's her ace in the hole. That's her Bailey. That's her Bailey, or that's her Mott rather. That's her Mott. Is completely unregulated, right? She doesn't really want you to pay attention to that difference, right? It's just like, well, see, she's opposed to the people who want to attack the community by strengthening and uniting the community, so her list makes complete sense. Her description of pride makes the LGBT community sound like the Borg. That's true. That's true, it does. But honestly, my critique here is that, let's go back and replay it because it's so hard to hear her.
And to celebrate the community. My position on kink, and especially as it relates to children.
Oh, right. Okay, so it's the, oh, what is it? Here it is, the completely unregulated. So she says
that letting kink, and I'm focusing very specifically on kink because I feel like a lot of people get away from this, in the pride completely unregulated means that we cannot achieve the first goal of uniting the community. Cool. That's
so she's saying that as long as there is kink at pride, we cannot achieve the first goal of uniting the community. We can't have everyone together as long as there's kink at pride. Does anyone want to tell me if they see a problem with that? Anyone? Anyone want to tell me if they see a problem with the statement, we can't unite the entire community as long as there is kink at pride? Can you also tell me if you think it is any different from this tweet? Her saying that in the video is no different than what is stated in this tweet. If we don't exclude you, we can't unite. She's literally saying, as long as kink is at pride, we can't unite the community. Let me go back, I'll play it again.
My position on kink, and especially as it relates to children, is that letting kink, and I'm focusing very specifically on kink because I feel like a lot of people get away from this, in the pride completely unregulated means that we cannot achieve the first goal of uniting the community. So
she says, letting kink in pride completely unregulated means that we cannot unite the community. We can't achieve the first goal of uniting the community as long as kink is at pride. Okay? So hang on. I want to see if I can find, hang on. I have some tweets saved that I want to pull up, and I have some screenshots that I want to pull up, and it's going to be, oh, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a long video, so I do appreciate your patience. Maybe I'll cut this into something better, but I'm trying to find a higher quality video of this. Here we go. I'll just go to this person's Twitter and find the tweet that they made. Okay, hang on. Trying to load it. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
celebrate the community. So I've thought it over. I have 3 main purposes of Pride: to unite the LGBT community, to strengthen the community, and to celebrate the community. My position on kink, and especially as it relates to children, is that letting kink, and I'm focusing very specifically on kink because I feel like a lot of people get away from this, in the Pride completely unregulated means that we cannot achieve the first goal of uniting the community. Cool.
Okay. So there we have it, the first claim. Letting kink into Pride completely unregulated means we cannot unite the community. We can't have everyone together as long as these people have no rules. Well, I want to ask you if you know of any instances where this is a problem, where kink is allowed at Pride parades completely unregulated, where kink, and I want to focus here on our definition of kink and what kink means. Okay, we get into that here in just a minute, but saying that kink at Pride completely unregulated means there has to be some sort of regulation. If you take a look at Pride parades today, and you see how they're set up, and how the events are planned, and how the community maintains how things go, you will see that what these people consider kink, right, does not take place in the main parade. And this was my criticism of Vosh as well, was that this is not a problem. So why are you talking about it? It's not a problem. It doesn't exist. There's no... Because we've asked. Big Sussy, you and I have both asked for this to be shown, for this harm to be calculated and shown and proved through evidence. Heavy, why won't you stop beating your wife energy? Yeah. Very big, very, very big. And that's the point, is the whole argument is based on a flimsy foundation. All these people here talking about it are wasting their time. Me here, I'm wasting my time making this video. I'm wasting my time doing this breakdown. RGR might as well crusade against 9-month abortions. Yeah. Because that's as big of a problem, yeah. Yep. Exactly. We'll get more into it, but here's the thing, right? Is that she says that there's nothing, I'll just play it.
Cool. That's absolutely true. There is nothing objectionable about that whatsoever.
There's nothing objectionable about that whatsoever. Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I agree. 100%. I agree that there should be regulation when it comes to Pride, right? There should be rules, right? With any kind of event, right? But that's the case. That's how it exists now. So I don't know what the big deal is. So basically this is what's going on, right? You say that completely unregulated Pride events are not friendly to the community at large and should not be wholly representative of these events, but there are so few events that are completely unregulated that you're creating a straw man argument basically by saying that this is a problem where it doesn't exist. And that's what I'm saying. That's my critique about this whole discourse, right? Is that it's based on the foundation that there's a problem when there's not. Okay? And nobody's been able to demonstrate what harm is being done by having even people in quote-unquote full-body gimp suits at Pride, right? Even if you have them in the main parade, can you calculate for me? Can you prove to me that harm is being done to children, right, as you claim, by these people simply by the virtue of wearing the costume? Can you prove it? If that's your claim, you have to prove it. And it's sad. It's honestly very, very sad to see somebody who studied law not understand the concept of burden of proof, okay? I've not studied law officially. I would love to. Law is something I'm very passionate about, okay? Believe it or not, it's one of my big interests, okay? When I graduated high school, you could get your class ring or whatever, and I put my star sign on one side, and I put the flames of justice on the other, because the law is a subject that I'm very passionate about, okay? I have not had the good fortune to be able to go to law school, to any college, really. My entire family's poor, okay? Most of them are dead. They're not coming back. I'm on my own, okay? I don't have time or energy or the money to go to law school and study law. So I'm happy. I'm very happy for Riley and her work in Maryland against the trans panic defense. None of this video is about that, okay? All of her work in Maryland with the trans panic defense, phenomenal. That's awesome stuff. I want to see more of that, right? But this, peddling in shitty, dishonest discourse for nothing more than clicks, is embarrassing, okay? And with that, I'm going to go get my second beer. I'll be right back, and we'll finish this fucking video. Okay. Satanic panic all over again? Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Hang on. I'm going to turn my cam off for just a second. And hit that bomb.
If you let kink and the pride completely unregulated, very specifically completely unregulated, that means you're making the space inherently unsafe to children, and you are necessarily going to exclude them unless you're fine having kink and unless you're fine involving children in sex acts. I absolutely 1000% stand by this. Anyone who says anything to the contrary is acting absolutely negligently.
Yeah. Woo! All right. Sorry about that. Didn't want to hit it on cam. That's a TOS violation. Oh! All right. So, what have we got here? Oh, that's a big claim. If you want kink at Pride, you're okay with children and being involved in sex acts. I don't know about that.
The space inherently unsafe to children, and you are necessarily going to exclude them unless you're fine having kink and unless you're fine involving children in sex acts.
I don't know, sis. That's a big yikes from me.
Absolutely 1000% stand by this. Anyone who says anything to the contrary is acting absolutely negligently.
So here's another thing. I want to bring up how negligently she is acting, right? This is very dishonest, okay? This whole fucking discourse is dishonest because it's based on that flimsy fucking foundation.
This person is completely fine either excluding children from Pride or, beyond that, letting children be involved in sex acts. Holy shit. I am so fucking tired of these people.
Wait, hold on. There's a follow-up clip. Okay. There's a second clip. Here's the second clip.
So you continue using level unintelligible.
Okay. I'm going to
nonsense saying that kink is defined in relation.
When they play the clip, I'm going to play the other version of it, okay?
sexuality, therefore involving children in sexual act. This is intentional or not, the stupidest sleight of hand I've ever seen. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's an insane thing to say to me. I don't.
So here's the sleight of hand that she's talking about is this exactly, right? Where you keep saying this completely unregulated, and then you go against this later on in the video. You'll see, but like, she's not advocating for completely unregulated kink out of pride, right? She's advocating for any type of anything that can be interpreted as kink out of pride. That's what she's advocating for. Believe her words or not, right? But when you boil her arguments down and you find out what she actually believes, she doesn't want any kind of anything that could be interpreted as kink at pride, right? She wants it completely family friendly. Right, which I guess is fine. Sure, there's family-friendly events you can have. That's great, right? But to sit here and pretend that somebody wearing a dog mask or somebody wearing a leather suit or even somebody in a full-body leather suit that's just a leather person, right, is not harming children. Okay, that's not happening. All right, just the simple fact of them existing does not harm your kid. So,
know like how that's a defensible statement. Like, if you're defining something in relation to sexuality, and then you are suggesting that children should be involved in that, you're involving children in sexuality. That's the most logically valid string of.
Okay, here's the thing that he just said, right? If you define something in relation to sexuality, and then suggest children should be involved in that, you were involving children in sexual activity. Okay, so let's do a little thought experiment. Okay, you want to do a little thought experiment? Y'all ready for this? Parents, right? I define parents as being two adults who perform sexual activity with each other to create children. Okay? So I'm defining the word parent, right, in relation to the sexual aspect of their relationship. Right? That's how I define who parents are. Okay? So they are defined simply by two consenting adults who have sex to create a child. Okay? And I'm saying, and you can cancel me for this if you want. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. If you wanna go ahead and unfollow me for this, that's up to you. You can do that. That's okay. All right? That's fine. That's fine by me. But here's my hot take. Here's my hot take of July 1st, 2021. I think that children, even as young as 1 year old, even as young as 0 years old, 1 hour old, children should be associated with their parents. Does that mean I think that the children should be involved in the sex that the parents have? Of course not. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. Not at all. 0%. I don't believe in that at all. RGR is currently defending a cis woman getting mad at a trans woman for calling her dude. Can we one discourse at a time, please? We'll one discourse at a time. We'll take this one day at a time. We'll take this one bad take at a time. Oh man. That discourse is so easy to resolve. The only way that it's not okay to say that is if the person's trans, right? Obviously, you don't say dude to a trans woman, right? Or B, if the person tells you not to. That's it. That's it. Okay, it doesn't matter, right? Trans women get an exception because of misgendering, right? For a cis woman, that's not misgendering. Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll just do this one first, okay? But anyway, yeah. So that's my point. Is that this is a lot of really dishonest framing, okay? And these people are obsessive. These two especially. Whoever this person, I have no idea who. I looked up their YouTube and they have like an average of like, I don't know, 125 views on their videos, which I can't say anything because I have 0 on mine. But I mean, compared to the other content creators that I see, like, I have no idea who this person is, and I don't blame myself for not knowing who this person is. But it's this person's no. This person has like no idea what he's talking about, and you'll see later in the video. But like, I don't know why Riley respects him so much. Maybe it's her own fucking rules that she wants to apply to and that he meets or whatever. But he has no idea what he's talking about, and you'll see it later in the video. But like, this is more dishonest framing by both of them, and there's tons of this in the video.
Words that I can think of off the top of my head, right? So like, I don't know what
this person is fucking
going on about.
She is.
Let's see what let's see what the clip is.
Yeah, go for it. By every reputable.
Oh, hang on. I'll cut over to the clip. All right, here's a clip. Oh, really? Okay, sorry.
Kink is defined by every reputable source as acting in a way specifically appealing to an unconventional sexual taste, desire, or preference. I have not found anyone who has said that kink is not sexual to provide a definition that somehow is more reputable and not referencing sexual desires or preferences. So doing this around children necessarily involves them in a sexual act. Kink is defined by every reputable source as...
Let's listen to that one more time, actually. Kink is defined by every reputable source as...
acting in a way specifically appealing to an unconventional sexual taste.
Acting in a way towards an unconventional sexual taste?
Desire or preference.
Desire or preference.
I have not found anyone who has said that kink is not sexual.
I have not found anyone who said that kink is not sexual. Now, first of all, that's a lie. She's found plenty of people who have said kink is not sexual. Whether she believes them or not is a different story. But plenty of people are in her replies saying kink is not sexual. I disagree with that. I think kink is sexual. I think that's the wrong argument to have. Okay? But there are people in her replies, and I can see them. I can see them, so I know they exist, telling her that their definition of kink has nothing to do with sexuality or nothing to do with sex. Her definition literally includes gay people. Yeah, you did it. You found out the point before I said it. Yeah, extra points. Woo! That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Any unconventional, let me actually, here's the thing. I have this. Let me go Webster's dictionary. Let's go to Webster's dictionary real fast, and let's define unconventional. Let's define unconventional. Not conventional, which I don't know when they stopped doing this, but I thought you couldn't use the word to define the word, right? You couldn't use a root of a word to define the word. Not bound by or in accordance with convention. Again, you're using the root of the word to define the word, okay? So maybe you don't do that. Being out of the ordinary. Now that's a better one. That's a better one. Being out of the ordinary. Okay, so what's the ordinary, right? What's the ordinary? Right? Cis man, cis woman? 2.5 kids, white picket fence, right? Is that the ordinary? One other thing I want to bring up about this point is that the ordinary will constantly be in flux. Okay? As we are seeing with population representation in the United States today, right? We are overwhelmingly becoming the most diverse country in the entire world, right? Simply because of the diversity of our population. So what is becoming the norm is always changing. Okay? So when you say no kink at Pride, and your definition of kink is anything relating to any sexual desire that's not out of the ordinary, or that's out of the ordinary, right? That's your definition of kink. Is anything, any reference or any image about any sexual desire that's not the ordinary. Well, gay people are not ordinary. Okay? Lesbians, this might surprise you, are not ordinary. Trans people, believe it or not, are not ordinary. Okay? Trans people still struggle for rights in a lot of states. The rights to the medication, right? The right to change their name and have their identity displayed on their ID, right? The right to live, right? Trans people struggle for rights all over the world, and they're not ordinary. And my big problem with this definition is it just excludes everyone. Everyone at Pride. If you act too gay, straight to jail. Right? If you act too butch, right? Straight to jail. If you have any unconventional interests, straight to jail. RGR seems to take a weird pleasure in getting epically owned. Is that a kink? Well, there are two questions here, right? There's the, is it a kink? To which the answer is yes. And then there's the question of, is it her kink? To which the answer is, I don't know. I don't care. None of my business. RGR says she's a capitalist but loves being publicly owned. I don't know. All right. So here, this is my big point, right? Being gay is an unconventional sexual desire. If you act gay around children, well, guess what, buddy? You're involving them in sex. You might as well be a pedo. Excuse me. Cross-dressing, right? Unconventional sexual preference. Maybe I could swap those, right? Gay as preference and I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's all the same. It's all the same. She likes to use 3 words that mean the same thing to make it sound like she has a bigger point than she does, but she doesn't. Cross-dressing is an unconventional sexual preference. If you're wearing clothes that don't align with your birth gender, guess what? You're involving kids in sex, buddy. Uh-oh. Foot fetish is an unconventional sexual taste. If you go around barefoot, hoping people will enjoy the sight of your feet, and there happen to be kids nearby, guess what? Guess what? Why don't you take a seat over there? Do you see how absurd this is? Like, her definition can literally be applied to everyone at Pride. Literally. And that's my point. That's my point. Right? She goes a lot into intent, and you can't police intent. Okay? You can't. I'm sorry. The only way you can do it is if you happen to come across a journal from a, like, I don't know, for example, like a really troubled kid, and they've wrote in their journal, like, how they plan to shoot up the school or whatever. If they show you that they plan to do harm, you can police intent, okay? But they have to show you that they plan to do harm. None of these people are showing me any harm. I'm not seeing any harm. Where's the harm? For this to be a problem, where's the harm? Continuing to be intimate after marriage, also unconventional. That's true. If you happen, you know what? Poly relationships are unconventional. If you're poly, guess what? I don't care if you're straight or cis. I don't care if you're straight and cis. If you're poly, straight to jail. Straight to Pride jail. All right. Okay. Let's go back. Let's keep watching.
Source is acting in a way specifically appealing to an unconventional sexual taste, desire, or preference. I have not found anyone who has said that kink is not sexual to provide a definition that somehow is more reputable and not referencing sexual desires or preferences. So doing this around children necessarily involves them in a sexual act.
Yes.
And another thing I want to add really quick before they get really obnoxious and start saying yes to each other a bunch, is that, again, I want to say the answer is not defining kink as non-sexual. Kink is sexual, right? But Riley's definition of kink is far too broad, okay? And even if she were to narrow it down, right? What she's talking about is just stuff that happens to be referencing kink. That's all you'll see at Pride. If you go to a Pride event, you will not see public sex, okay? It's not going to happen. You have to go to a specific event for that. And there are specific events for that. And despite what you might think, Riley, they exist. And they have a right to exist. And that's fine. That's fine. Most Pride events are family friendly already. This isn't a problem. I'm not seeing any calculable harm. If it were the 1960s, would interracial couples be considered unconventional? Yes. Yes, they would. That's another thing. A lot of people consider, race mixing in sex to be kink. Interracial couples wouldn't be allowed at Pride. Riley wants a Pride where it's all straight cis people. All straight cis married people with two and a half kids. And they literally have to have 2.5 kids. The half is important. Yes. It feels like we've come a long way, and it feels like we've had these rights for a long time because we were born in this time where we have these rights. Okay? We live in this time where these rights were granted to us. So we can't go back and imagine. We don't want to go back and imagine. And I don't blame anyone for not wanting to go back and imagine what life was like without them. But it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't. It was what, 2008, 2016? When was it? 2012? I can't even remember. It was one of the Obama terms. When did gay people get the right to the universal right to marry? When was that? That was recent. That was recent.
Yeah. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
She wants to sit on this high horse and say there's nothing wrong with saying that kink at Pride should not be allowed completely unregulated. And when she says kink, she's talking about like BDSM stuff. She's talking about like actual public nudity and actual public sex, right? And that's not the main focus of most Pride events anyway. And the ones that they exist in, it's a very minor role compared to everything else, unless that event is dedicated to it. It's so not a problem. And then she's like, it's just so fucking frustrating.
Like if she want, like I'll be completely charitable. There are parts of that you could clip out. Like if she wanted to do the clipping things out of context to try and make me look really bad, there are so many other parts of that panel that she could have taken. But I know, especially in the opening statements, that I was as clear and concise as possible, and that there's no like everything that she said is just absolutely true. Like all of it. It's just really weird that a lot of people who come from really fringe parts of the internet are coming out with really weird takes that apparently kink is fine to do in front of children. We should be able to justify doing it in front of them, even if it's explicitly involving them in a sexual act. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is unironic. Oh my God. They are either negligently justifying pedophilia or intentionally justifying.
Okay. I want to stop you there. I want to go back to where you said people on fringe parts of the internet have really weird takes that kink is fine to do in front of children. I want to go back to that real quick. Can we go back to that?
If it's explicitly involving them in parts of the could have taken, but I know, especially in the opening statements, that I was as clear and concise as possible, and that there's no like everything that she said is just absolutely true. Like all of it. It's just really weird that a lot of people who come from really fringe parts of the internet are coming out with really weird takes that apparently kink is fine to do in front of children. We should be able to justify doing it in front of them, even if it's explicitly involving them in a sexual act. Like, what the fuck is going on?
That kink is fine to do in front of children. Well, let's use Riley's definition of kink and see if kink would be fine to be done in front of children. So, what is Riley's definition of kink?
So I thought it over. I have three main purposes of Pride: to unite the LGBT community,
it's this one.
To provide a definition. Kink is defined by every reputable source as acting in a way specifically appealing to an unconventional sexual taste, desire, or preference.
Okay. Acting in a way appealing to an unconventional sexual desire, preference, or taste. So, with that definition, I would say, considering all sexual desires, tastes, and preferences, because they are obviously all different things, right? Sexual taste versus sexual desire versus sexual preference. You can calculate that difference, right? You can calculate that difference. You can tell me what that difference is between those three. I don't think you can. I think you meant the same thing. I think you said three words for the same thing. But at any rate, using your definition, I would say yes, some kink is okay to do in front of children. I think that's fine. I think some kink is fine. Okay? I think if you consider being gay to be a kink, I think that's fine. I think gay people can exist around children and not be inherently sexual. If you think that trans people, if you think being trans is a kink, right? And Blanchard does, right? And there's a lot of people on 4chan that do, right? I mean, even a person that RGR follows here has got that opinion. Do you know who that is? It's Gammy. Do you know her? I know. Big transphobe. Huge amounts of transphobia. Okay. Just point that out. But so, using her definition, yeah, I think some kink fine to do in front of children because it doesn't involve them and it doesn't harm them. And that's the part. That's the important part, right? Cross-dressing, there's no harm to anybody that might see them, right? If you see a cross-dresser, I'm sorry if you think you might be hurt by seeing that cross-dresser, but honey, you're not. Honey, you're not. You can just turn away. You don't have to look at that person, okay? You don't. They're not hurting you. They're not doing anything to you. You don't have to look at them. Don't look at them. If you don't look at them. If you don't want to look at them, don't look at them. Simple enough, okay? Simple enough, right? If the person cross-dressing, decides to perform an actual sex act in public, like masturbation, yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that, right? But there's laws against public indecency and performing sex acts in public or luring children to be abused. So why is it that we need to gatekeep pride for stuff that there's already laws for? I don't understand. What are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that we have pride police? Are you suggesting that we have people at the gate that are inspecting people's genitals and making sure that there's nobody wearing a chastity cage? Are you suggesting that we have people reveal pull down their underwear and be nude so that we know that they're not secretly wearing any kink gear and not secretly getting off at a pride parade? Because that's the logical end goal here, right? Is to make sure nobody's secretly getting off, which is important for some reason. Masturbation, yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. If you're doing it in public, it's wrong. Yeah, but yeah, that'd be a good clip. I should make a trailer sometime. But yeah, I want to see some data. If you're going to make the claim, right, that people wearing chastity cages or people wearing dog masks or people wearing full leather gimp suits or whatever straw man you want to make, right, if you make the claim that these people are doing harm, baby, you got to pay up. You got to show me the money. Show me the numbers. Show me the data. Because that's what I'm in it for. I'm a big math girl. And I love math. And I want to see those numbers on a piece of paper. I want to see you pull that data. And I want to see it displayed in front of me in a nice Excel graphic. Okay? I want to see it in a chart. But that's not going to happen. Because you have no data. Because you have no point. Let's go back to the video and see how little of a point she actually has.
This is unironic. Oh my god. They're either negligently justifying pedophilia or intentionally justifying pedophilia. And I have no idea what the fuck it is. It's either negligently justifying it, where they don't intend to, but they end up actually justifying it, or they're intentionally justifying it.
This is a point that I didn't intend to bring up, but I want to bring up now that I've been drinking and I've had time to think. It's not good that you're saying that people who want to wear their kink gear at a pride event that's meant to celebrate unusual lifestyles, preferences, interests, desires, whatever kind of fucking synonym you want to pull out of your she's been tracking her personal feelings this whole time. That's data. I mean, it is technically, I guess, right? Like, it's data on her feelings. Yeah, so there is a huge history of LGBT plus people being persecuted, being slandered for being pedos, right? Simply by nature of being who they are. And when you say that people who just simply want to wear their mask that's important to their identity at an event that it's allowed where they can celebrate, if you say that those people want to do that, even if there's children watching and that makes them pedos, I'm sorry, but you've really lost the plot. You've really come to the end and just jumped off the cliff. I have no idea what's going on in your head at this point. When you do this, when you muddy the waters like this, if you actually care about the actual abuse of children, you'll realize that muddying the waters like this make it harder to find the actual abusers, okay? When you're going around slinging mud and saying, oh, this person's a pedo because they want to wear a mask at a pride parade, or oh, this person's a pedo because they were born a boy and they want to dress up in a dress, or oh, this person's a pedo because they like to wear a collar with an infinity symbol on it. No! Do you understand what you're doing? You're wasting everybody's time. You're crying wolf over what? Because you don't like it? Because you don't want to see it? Baby, just turn your head 180 degrees and please look the fuck away. I swear to God, please, Riley, I'm begging you, mind your own goddamn business. Please, Riley, please. Just mind your fucking business and let people live. God, what the fuck? It's not hard.
And holy fuck.
True. Okay, here's the follow-up. Some people like feet. If you go shoeless to a public event because your partner likes feet, you're not involving children in a sexual act. Now,
I want to prepare you all for this. We are only 4 minutes into this video and I'm an hour into mine. Okay? We are 4 minutes into this 10-minute video and I'm an hour into my video. Because I just have so much to say about this. Get prepared, because this is the fucking stupidest fucking point. And you'll see Riley fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. You will see her take the bait and just fucking gobble it up, because she has no consistency to her beliefs at all. And even her little fucking friend here, that I've never heard of, disagrees with her. Watch.
I'll let you decide if that's analogous to what you said in those clips.
Wait, some people like feet. If you go shoeless to a public event, hold on, no. The whole point, to go back to my argument, right? The whole idea is that we shouldn't be involving people in a sexual act. There are some things that you can do, which sometimes are involving people in a sexual act. If you are not wearing shoes to an event, you can be doing that for any number of reasons. If you're going shoeless to an event just because, you don't want to wear shoes that day because they're uncomfortable, or you're going to the beach or whatever, that's totally fine. If you're going to an event not wearing feet because you're trying to get someone else off, or you're trying to get yourself off because you're appealing to a kink, that's absolutely a sexual act. So if you're doing it for the latter, then yeah, you absolutely shouldn't be doing that around children. If you're doing it for the former, then fine. Then you don't have to do it. Then
when I was on I can't remember the exact example that came up. I think it was with people in bikinis instead of feet. I think they're analogous for what I'm about to say. But basically, like, my response to this is usually that if you are barefooted, there are the expectations for why someone is barefooted in a social situation would be relatively neutral, right? You could be barefooted for all kinds of reasons. But if you are wearing a full body gimp suit, you're probably not wearing that in a neutral manner, right?
Okay. Do you see what she did there? She totally took the bait. Going barefoot because you have the intention of wanting to be barefoot is fine. But if you go barefoot because you think other people might like to look at your feet, straight to jail with you. How are you going to do that? How are you going to police intent like that? What are you talking about, honey? Going barefoot is kink? Because, holy shit. What are you even trying to say? Like, this is not reasonable. This is not a reasonable take to have. What are you even talking about? How are you going to police intent like that? Are you actually going to have people at like the gate that are like, okay. They like put a gun to your head and they're like, all right. Why aren't you wearing shoes? Right? And if you say, oh, I have pretty feet and I know people like to see them. Immediately dead. Immediately. Too bad, Kinkster! Get it the fuck out of here! You don't belong here. But, if you just say, oh, I don't believe in shoes. They just let you in. Right? But, let me ask you this, Riley. What if, for the sake of argument, what if someone really does get off on other people looking at their feet? Right? And they want to go around barefoot everywhere, all the time, because they know they've got beautiful feet and they want to show it off. Right? Let's say that happens. And they come up to the gate and the fucking judge points the gun right at their head. It's like, all right, why aren't you wearing shoes? And she's like, oh, I don't believe in shoes. And they're like, all right, you're good. Go on through. And she goes on through. But secretly, she's thinking, haha, now all these people are going to be looking at my beautiful feet. They're going to be coming instantly. That person shouldn't have been let through, Riley. What are you doing? She lied about her intent. What are you going to do? You going to sue her? You going to take her to court? You can go all Phoenix, right? Objection! That's a lie! I've got the evidence in the court record. It's totally unenforceable. How are you going to do anything like that? How are you going to enforce that? You can't. Right? You can't. And Riley, if you can tell what somebody's intent is just by looking at them, if you can read people's minds, honey, give up on that law degree. That's a waste of time. If you can read minds, you better fucking become a prophet or some shit, right? You better fucking become a medium, right? You better go work for the police and like channel the dead or some shit like that. Like, come on. If you've got supernatural powers, give it to me, man. I want to hear about it. I'm interested in that. I'm not interested in your dishonest takes on kink at Pride, okay? That's what I'm not interested in. I don't want to see any more of this stupid fucking bullshit, because this is all just stupid fucking attention-getting bullshit, is all it is. All right. Secondly, another point I want to bring up about this. Let's say we do set up intent enforcement. What is going to stop the enforcers from enforcing their idea of kink versus your idea of kink? Can you tell me that? Are you gonna actually get these kink enforcers to believe in what your definition of kink is and to match 1-to-1 with what you think? Are you actually gonna trust these people with power that you've given them for no reason to do what you want them to? Or do you think that people with power sometimes abuse that power to see what they want to see? Like cops do. Do you think that some of these enforcers might see trans people and they don't pass? And when they see the non-passing trans person, they're like, "Oh, sorry, you're a kink. Get out of here. We only allow passing trans people in. If you're not passing, that's a kink. Sorry. Sorry, honey, if you don't pass, you're a kink. We don't make the rules. Sorry. We're just the enforcers. We're just the Pride enforcers. Making sure that no people come at Pride." This is all just fucking stupid. This is all just fucking stupid bullshit. Even Riley's own friend disagrees with this. Like, there are plenty of reasons one can be barefoot, he says, right? But if you're wearing a full-body gimp suit, it's probably not wearing that in a neutral manner. Look. Okay? Look. I want to focus mostly on Riley's takes here, but this whole fucking full-body gimp suit thing or fucking bullshit or whatever is just some stupid fucking talking point that these people have been going back and forth with, okay? All right.
Because
Yep.
Right, like
because they're explicitly designed for sexual purposes, right?
Yeah.
Like the
outside of the internet, this is relatively obvious to me and to you, but it seems like when you are terminally on the internet, this isn't very well understood. But apparently, you are a Jordan Peterson type who is like a biological weird incel person or whatever. If you say this, so
oh, that's cool. That's great.
I hate this part. This part is so fucking cringe.
Fantastic.
That is wonderful. Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this. I thought you would find this
Thanks. I don't even know what to do to respond to these people are operating on a whole nother level of logic. I don't know what to do with these people. I'm at my wit's end. Like, this is insane. This is outrageous. How far this is going.
There's more responses.
This is insane how far this is going. Riley, you're engaging with internet trolls. They're seeing how upset you're getting, and they're just making you more upset, honey. This is just internet trolls you're dealing with. Like, okay, so here's what she's doing, right? She's engaging with dishonest actors, right? And then taking that experience and using that experience to paint everybody who criticizes her take with the same brush. Okay, she's not engaging in good faith, and it's because by digging her heels in and repeating the same dishonest arguments, her engagement's up. Right? That's why we're back to the same dead fucking horse again. After everything seemingly settled, right? Pride Month is over. Okay? Pride Month is over. It doesn't matter, right? We can put this away. We can put this back in the closet for the next year. We can deal with this discourse next year. Okay, we don't have to do it now. Okay, Pride's over. No more parades. You're fine, Riley. You're fine. The Pride ended and no children got hurt. Whoa, you got your thing. Whoa, be happy. Okay? You're fine. Everybody's fine. Nobody got hurt this year. There weren't a whole bunch of fucking people in fucking full-body gimp suits going around harassing children. Okay, it didn't happen. If it did, show me. So far, I haven't seen anything. You haven't shown any evidence. All right? None. But she's going to drag this out like Brianna Joy Gray did with Force the Vote from January because it's the thing that gets her the most attention. She's going to pull this fucking silly string until it fucking pops. The thing I find sad about it is that it just... I don't want it to get to the point where it's discrediting her work, you know? Like she's done really great work. But this is just holy wrong on a completely different planet. Actually defending what could be considered the trans panic defense because people at Pride don't fit into the normal box. What the fuck is this about? Okay. Anyway.
Wait, I've got several definitions of Merriam-Webster. I got Wikipedia. This video might actually be okay. I don't know if that's responding to you or not.
No, it definitely is, because like I tried to cite like several definitions to support like why I'm using this particular definition of kink, and it's like, for some reason, everyone is like, no, Riley, you can't use those definitions. And then I ask for a definition, and no one can give me one. No one can give me one. They're like, Riley, you should appeal to one that's within the community. And I'm like, all right, give me one that's from the community. And no one can give me one. Not one person.
Well, no. There have been plenty of people to give you definitions otherwise. I've seen them. Again, I've seen them with my own eyes. I've seen them. Okay? It's happened. It's over. It's done. I've seen it. Okay? You can't come back from that. But you don't think it's valid. So, guess it goes in the dumpster. See, this is what makes me think she's grifting, because how can you understand that the trans panic defense, but you can't understand how kink bans could be weaponized in that exact same direction? That's my whole point. That's exactly my entire point. It's funny, you and I have been completely on the same wavelength this entire time, but yeah, exactly. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. These people are too weird. We don't want them in our weird pride parade or whatever. Don't let the weird people in the weird parade. But here's the thing, right? I think attempting to define kink separate from sexual activity is a mistake. Right? I think that plays into the wrong... That's the wrong argument you want to put forward. Right? I think kink does reference sexual activity or preference, and I don't think you can say kink without people thinking of unconventional sexual desires, right? But the problem here is that everyone has different ideas about what makes something unconventional, right? What is unconventional to you might not be unconventional to me, right? Or what is inherently a sexual desire. To some people, right, being trans is a kink, right? Blanchard really believed in autogynephilia, which is the thought that trans people are aroused by the idea of their own genitals changing or some shit like that. Who knows? Aroused by your own genitals or some shit. Some people think being poly is a kink, right? And when you make a blanket statement, like no kink at Pride, all you're doing is providing cover for bigotry. Because the things that you want to be against, there are already laws for, and you should know this, okay? Public indecency, not okay, all right? Harassing children, not okay, all right? Yeah, sexual harassment, no, not okay, all right? There's all laws for this. All right, it's not a problem. This is handled. Okay, there's a system for this already. All you're doing by saying no kinky people at Pride is providing coverage for bigotry. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're providing cover for the people who want to say, oh, well, trans people are kink. Or barefoot people are kink. And this is just not valid. It's not valid.
I don't have anything else to add to that. I mean, you're pretty much saying it all for me. So.
Yeah, I know. I've been through this so much. The people who deal with it are fucking, I don't know. It's really weird. Like, I don't know. It's like if I were a conservative watching this from the outside looking in, then it would not be a hard stretch to think that, like, all right, there's probably like some of these people who are either intentionally trying to justify pedophilia or who are negligently, unknowingly justifying pedophilia.
Yeah.
Again, she brings up the pedophilia part. I want to see some evidence that links. I want to see some evidence that links like the kinky people to pedophiles, right? That's what I want to see. I want to see anything that supports her argument at all. Honestly, I don't see anything. She's not given any data. She's no figures to point to. She's no articles, no headlines, nothing. Because Pride events, for the most part, are family friendly. Uncontroversial. I'm sorry, hon. I just don't. I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem. What are you talking about? What is this problem that you're talking about? You're going to have to define it better because there's nothing.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, okay, so I don't want to be too charitable, but I think that a lot of these people are not, they might not be intending, like, they don't have the intention to justify pedophilia. I just think that the things that they're saying, the things they're trying to justify are coming from a place of just like valuing sexual liberty, and they're worried that like, oh, the conservative people, the evil conservatives are just going to take this and make us all look like, you know, quote unquote.
Leave a child in a room full of dudes in full gimp gear and leave another in a room full of middle school gym coaches and see which one gets harmed first. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't support that. Ideally. I don't want to be doing scientific experiments with people's livelihoods. But I will tell you that, again, for people who are not aware of abuse statistics, you're more likely to be abused by someone you know than someone you don't. It's far more likely that you're abused by a trusted adult than you are a stranger. Okay? And when you go to a Pride event with a whole bunch of strangers in leather gear, I'm sorry, honey, you have a better chance of being abused by somebody else in your family. That's just how it is. Those are the datas. Actually, I can pull that up. Let's fucking pull it up. Because Riley hasn't given any data, so let's give some fucking data. How about that? All right, so how should I Google this? Statistics of statistics of sexual abuse from strangers versus known adults. Perpetrators of sexual violence. Let's see what this data says. Oh, wow, look at that. 20%, 19.5% are committed by a stranger. 39% are committed by an acquaintance. 33% are committed by a current or former spouse, boyfriend, or girlfriend. 6% are committed are committed by more than one person or the victim cannot remember. 2.5% are committed by a spouse, by a non-spouse relative. Okay? 59% were acquaintances. 34% were family members. 7% were strangers. 7%. Okay? That leaves 93 on the other end. Given the data, I'm not inclined to believe that strangers in gimp suits are more likely to abuse me than my weird uncle.
Degenerates,
oh yeah,
right?
no, I totally get
and
that.
they're worried about that, and I get that. But the problem is that if somebody is straw manning you, you don't become the straw man. You know what I mean? If someone's saying, "Oh, these people are absurd," you don't concede the absurdity. You say, "No, I am not absurd. I am a normal human being like everybody else is."
If someone is straw manning you, you don't become the straw man. I don't know what this means. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what exactly they're both referring to, but she does repeat this in a tweet later, which actually, I can pull that up real quick. Maybe I don't have it. Oh, maybe I have it on an image. Hang on. Okay. Did I take a screenshot of that one? Gosh, I don't remember. Okay, so another point she tweeted, the whole point of the PSYOP was to try to get LGBT and left-leaning people to defend doing kink in front of children. No. The point of the PSYOP was to sow discord, which is what you and I are both playing into right now. The people who are fucking up are the ones who are actually defending this shit. Just say kink in front of children is bad. It's not hard. Riley, the point is, you have a different definition of kink than other people. If you say kink is in front of children is not good, your specific definition might be right, but other people's definition might be not right. And when you make a blanket statement like kink is not allowed in front of children, people are going to have subjective decisions about what that means. They're going to have different opinions. She also tweeted, you should actually think about the harm you can cause in the LGBT community by literally advocating for kink in front of children. If it's a conspiracy theory that LGBTQ people are trying to do kink in front of children, then we shouldn't be advocating for that. It's not hard. We're not advocating for doing sex acts in front of kids. We're advocating for the definition of kink to not be this nebulous idea that you can't define, right? You've said that anything related to sexual interaction or unconventional sexual desire is technically kink. And let me tell you this, there's a lot of unconventional sexual desires that aren't related to kink, okay? So when you allow this subjective army of pride enforcers to storm the gates of your pride event and perform genital checks on people, make sure they're not wearing kink gear under their clothes and all this stuff just to make sure nobody comes during the event. I don't know what your point is here, honestly. There's no harm being done to anybody. There's no problem with how pride events are run currently, and I really don't know what you're meant to be going on about, honestly, right now. It just baffles me. God, let's keep going, I guess.
And I would like to be treated like everybody else is. And this is why I deserve to be treated like everybody else is, right?
Okay. So essentially, I think this means that she thinks that we should not be open about our sexuality because conservatives make exaggerated claims about LGBTQ community. So we should hide our sexuality more and not be as open about it so as to appear normal to them. For some reason. I mean, this is all predicated on the idea that you should strive for the acceptance of right-wingers. But you won't ever appease them. I mean, if you have any questions about this, just take a look at Andrea's story, right? Pogs for Bernie or Cyberdemon 531. She came out on Twitter just a few days ago and talked about her experience with talking to right-wingers and trying to appease right-wingers. And the minute she came out as trans, they dropped her. And she tried as hard as she could to keep them as her friends. But nope, they weren't having it. So I don't see the point in trying to appease these people. Okay? I don't see the point in trying to fit into this little box that Rand Paul wants to put me in. Or people of his ilk. Okay? I have no desire to appeal to the rest of society at large. I have no idea what society thinks of me, and I have no interest in learning. Okay? I'm here to be me, and to celebrate me being me, for what makes me unique. And that's what Pride's for. Pride's not for putting yourself back into a closet because you don't fit cis people's idea of what makes queer people queer. Pride's not for that. Pride's not for that. But that's seemingly what these two people want here. This random fucking, I assume, cis straight guy and Riley here, for some reason, wants to make queer people fit into a box that cis people find accessible. For what? For what? To be accepted by society at large? You think that's not going to happen naturally? You think that's not going to happen with time? Do you think it was trying to fit into what cis people think of us that got us marriage equality? Do you really think that? Do you think it was appealing to the cis straight crowd that finally won over the Supreme Court? Because that's sad. That's really sad if you think that. I had so much more respect for you, but if you really think that, holy shit. If someone is saying these people are absurd, you don't concede the absurdity, you say, no, I am a normal human being like everybody else is. Can you tell me what is normal? What is a normal human being? This is really poorly worded. I'm not even sure what the meaning behind this is. If bigots call LGBT people absurd, then that means we shouldn't participate in absurd behavior. What is absurd? Can you tell me what is absurd? You all have a lot of definitions for this, and we shouldn't do this and we shouldn't do that, but it's all these nebulous terms that are really ill-defined and very subjective and up to whoever's interpretation as to say, oh, well, this is kink or this is absurd or blah, 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 blah. How about no nudity? That's okay. I'm okay with that rule. How about if you harass somebody, the police come and, set you right? How about that? Oh, that's already a rule. That's already a rule. It's so subjective and so nebulous. There's no point here at all, besides just appeal to the desires of bigots. Just do it. Because you want to be normal, don't you? Do it because you want to be normal, don't you? You want to be normal, right? A normal human being is me eating a corn dog in a lawfully sanctioned corn dog eating zone. That's true. Yeah. That's good. If you eat your corn dogs in the officially sanctioned corn dog eating zone, I got no problem with you. Right? If you go out onto the street and you start eating corn dogs in the street wildly, children might see you. Corn dogs can be interpreted as sexual objects. What if people get off on eating corn dogs? Do you really want to be labeled a pedophile for the rest of your life for eating a corn dog in the street? Why are you advocating for kink in front of children? Because you want to eat a corn dog? Outside of the officially sanctioned corn dog eating zone? Man. Way to throw away your life for a corn dog. God. What a waste. Honestly, it's a bit embarrassing to listen to her take this seriously. Like, what is normal supposed to mean? People are not the same. The point of pride is to celebrate what makes us unique. I really think they're trying to equate pride to a gay rights march. Right? And they're not at all the same. They're trying to hold pride parades to the same standard as a gay rights march. Okay? And at some point, sure, I will concede that the two intersected at some point, right? I don't think we are seeing that today. Okay? When we go to a pride event, I don't think we're seeing it as a gay rights march. I don't see a lot of gay rights activism or trans rights activism taking place at a pride parade. Pride, again, as Riley put it, is a celebration meant to unite the community and strengthen the community. These are not different things. They are the same thing. But that's what pride is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a celebration meant to strengthen and unite the community. Okay? Not, right? It's not meant to be a civil rights march. The best argument I use is that kink language and abuse is often used to abuse children, so not giving kids a PG knowledge of kink actually protects them more. Like how many creepy uncles got away with harm because they called it play. Yes, exactly that. That's another very good point that I didn't have on my document, right? Is that educating at an early age when it comes to that time, right? That's important. That's important to reduce harm so that kids know what is harmful, right? Because a lot of times they don't, especially if you have like really conservative parents who don't believe in sex education or anything like that. If you have those conservative parents, good luck. Man, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. Because you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn what you need to. And you're going to fall victim to a lot of traps. And it's going to be sad. But when you give kids the education about what is good and what is bad, right? And who to trust and who not to trust, right? You give them the tools they need to fight against this abuse. It's not inherently sexual to talk to your kids about sex, to educate them about sex, okay? That's not inherently sexual. You are not participating in a sex act by telling your kid the birds and the bees, okay? You are not a pedo for telling your kid what to do with their girlfriend or their boyfriend or their they friend or whatever. No, it's absolutely true. Absolutely, yeah. Feel free. It's an open discussion. That's the point. But I really think that they're trying to equate the two. And they're applying the standards for a rights march or protest to Pride. And then they want to say, oh, well, Pride isn't a protest. There shouldn't be any violence at all. There really will be no appeasing them, honestly. All right? They're just going to move the goalposts because they fear looking bad, or they fear, not having the right take from the beginning or being wrong at all, right? At this point, Riley's so deep into the discourse that if she admits that she's wrong, it will do significant damage to her brand. A lot of her mods have already left her community over this. She's already fractured what community she had. She's gone private 4 or 5 times between now and the beginning of the month, last month, the beginning of the month, June, right? She's privated all her videos or deleted them. They're not on her YouTube anymore. This one was just posted today, and I'm lucky it's still up. This is not playing out in her favor. This is the wrong take to have. And she's blocking everybody who says otherwise. And that's fine. But that's just creating an echo chamber with extra steps. That's all it is. You can block whoever you want. You don't have to follow whoever you don't want to follow. Right? But when you sit on this high horse and you make this giant fucking comprehensive list, this huge legal document explaining your logical reasoning for each person you follow, and then turns around and one of the fucking 15 people you follow is one of the biggest trans medicalists on the site, I'm sorry, honey, I don't believe you. I don't really think my ideas align with yours. Of course, I want to see everybody happy and I want to see everybody achieve their goals. Right? I don't want children to be harmed. But I don't think policing what you consider kink to be anything positive at all. And then, hang on. I'll play this.
You don't say, "Oh no, I actually am this deranged human being that you think I am." You don't do that. In
equating kink adjacent people who want to wear a dog mask to their pride parade because they feel they feel like they identify with that persona. They want to wear that costume to that parade. To a deranged human being. Deranged! And she just fucking, yep, nods her head. Yep.
in any situation, right? Like,
yep.
It's just so weird. It's
Yep.
so surreal to me. I don't get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredibly weird.
Incredibly weird. Yep.
I mean,
you're right.
I already went through this. If you want like my abridged, like for me to go through it again. So basically, I could conceive, no one actually offered this, I had to arrive at this myself, I could conceive of a definition of kink which is able to include non-sexual acts, where it's basically you have certain things, like you have like 2 categories under this group of kink, right? Where it's like you have one...
Hang on. 1 sec, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I'm gonna grab my last beer. We'll be right back. Okay. Actually, hang on. Okay. Very good. Yep. There we go. All right. So, let's pick up where we left off.
Group, which is like doing things which appeal to specific sexual desires or tastes. And then the other category are things which are referential to sexual desires or tastes, but aren't directly sexual in and of themselves, right? Examples include, like, someone brought up, like, infinity colors, right? Infinity colors could be something which are not always used in a sexual manner, but which are referential to a relationship which is fundamentally sexual in nature, right? And so, like,
So there's two types of kink, according to Riley. There's direct kink, and there's indirect kink. Okay? Direct kink would be like, I don't know, somebody wearing a chastity cage, I guess. Chastity cages are kink, huh? I would say. I'm surprised all of this discourse has gone around about kink at Pride, and not a single fucking soul has said a solid word about chastity cages. Not a single fucking person has said that. It's always about coming. You know what? Can you tell me if you think a chastity cage would qualify as kink under Riley's rules? Because honestly, I don't think it would. Don't you have to want to come to be kink in Riley's world? Isn't it all about the coom? I'm not sure. I have no idea. Because her definitions are so ill-defined. Her standards are so ill-defined. I have no idea what she wants. No kink at Pride. Okay, well, what does that specifically mean? You want to see no cross-dressers? You want to see no trans people? You want to see no gay people at Pride? No gays at Pride. Gays are banned from Pride now. It's official. Gays are banned from Pride. Forever. I don't know. I really don't know. Honestly. I don't think there's a real difference between direct and indirect kink. Right? She's trying to say that this indirect kink is this example she's giving of an infinity collar. Are you familiar with what the concept is? Or do you know what a choker is? How it's like a little strip of, like, I don't know, black nylon or something with a charm on the front, typically. Lots of times it's a star or a heart, some shit like that, right? An infinity collar is the same thing, but it's an infinity symbol, not a star or a heart. And that is a piece of indirect kink gear, according to Riley Grace Rochon. And no kink should be allowed at Pride. So, if you have an infinity collar, guess what? Straight to jail. Straight to jail.
We can conceive of instances where someone is wearing it, where they are using it to reference back to, in that instance, a sexual desire or interest or relationship, but they are not doing a sexual thing as they are using it. But in that case, I would draw a distinction between that and the other thing, because you know what we already do this for? We do this for gender and sex.
Do what for? Draw distinctions between two different things? Yeah. You know what else we already do that for? Apples and fucking oranges. I mean, they're fruits. You can kind of compare them. But if you're comparing taste, or color, or shape, texture, wildly different. We can draw comparisons between even similar things. Right? We can draw comparisons between Exxon and BP. They're both big oil gas companies. Right? I think so. But there's differences. Sure, we can compare them. We can draw distinctions there. Yeah. I don't know what she's getting to with this. I have no idea. We can draw distinctions between two different things. Yeah. Okay. And it seems like a lot of what Riley says is just like filler or common sense or I don't know. Like the whole thing where she's saying three synonyms to make it sound like she's saying more than she actually is. And then this, where she's like, oh, you know what else we do that for? Oh, it's
one group, which is
literally like two different other things.
One thing, like you have like two categories under this group of kink, right?
Watch, we'll do this
where it's
again.
like you have one group, which is like doing things which appeal to specific sexual desires or tastes. And then the other category are things which are referential to sexual desires or tastes, but aren't directly sexual in and of themselves, right? Examples include like someone brought up like infinity colors, right? Infinity colors could be something which are not always used in a sexual manner, but which are referential to a relationship which is fundamentally sexual in nature, right? And so like we can conceive of instances where someone is wearing it, where they are using it to reference back to, in that instance, a sexual desire or interest or relationship, but they are not doing a sexual thing as they are using it. But in that case, I would draw a distinction between that and the other thing, because you know what, we already do this.
You know what else we draw distinctions between two things for? Literally two different things that we can compare.
We do this for gender and sex. Because we have
literally saying nothing there. You're literally saying nothing. I really want to highlight that because this is like the biggest, like dumbest, most holy shit. I'm just blown away by how awful this is. Yeah, we can compare two things. Congratulations.
We've meaningful differences. We are able to meaningfully recognize the difference between sex, the biological characteristics of someone in certain respects, and gender, which is in many ways referential of sex, but is not the same thing. Because if we want to say that these are the
relationship, but they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to take a look at her chat for a second. This person, Mikhail, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce their name, but I'm assuming if it's similar to how you would pronounce angelic names from like the Bible. No, that's missing the mark so hard. Fetishes are not kinks. The fact that someone can get aroused by something doesn't make it a kink. Ooh, wow. I wonder if that person got banned. I think the core of the problem is disagreements with what people consider kink and sex. Oh, wow. You mean it's subjective. Yeah, that's what you mean. I think the core of what she's saying by talking about foot fetish is pretty salient. No. And Mikhail says, fetish, a form of sexual desire in which gratification is linked to an abnormal degree to a particular object, item of clothing, part of the body, etc. Yeah. There are different things. I will give them that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, we already do this for gender and sexuality, and for the same reason that we shouldn't say that kink and things that are referential of kink are the same thing, we shouldn't say that gender and sex are the same thing.
That's not for the same reason at all. I mean, I guess if you want to boil it down to for the same reason, as in the same reason is these two things are not the same. But you don't use the same logical reasoning that you do with gender and sex that you do with things that are kink and things that are referential of kink. You don't use the same fucking mindset there. Unless you're really boiling it down to, oh, these are just two different things. It really just feels like a fucking really long fart just came out of her mouth. Just totally useless.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
And that's it. That's the fucking video. That's the whole fucking video. She ends on that. That's her fucking end. That's her big point to cap off the fucking Kink at Pride discourse is, you know what else we can compare? We draw distinctions with two literally different things. She made no points. She showed no data. And she's still going to sit on a high horse and thinks that she's right and block everybody that asks her for data. So. Some people like feet. If you go shoeless to a public event because your partner likes feet, you're not involving children in a sexual act. That's true. Yep, you have to prove it's a bad thing. That's the point. Yes, if you say it's a bad thing, guess what? You have to prove it. Okay, let's go through some of these real quick. I had some of these pulled up. Okay. So there was a thing at this video where apparently she has an interaction with Jangles at 3:56. Let's watch this and see what this says.
Intent would be more important.
Yeah, because if someone is trying to engage in a sex act and they do so involving another person without that person's consent, there is a categorical violation of that person's autonomy. If they're doing it with a
in
child,
this scenario, okay, let's say in this scenario, like it's two people who are engaging in the sex act with each other.
What sex act?
And I think for this analogy, it doesn't matter. They could be kissing, and that brings them sexual gratification, or they could be fisting. All right. Okay. So for that purposes, it's just these two people are engaging in a sexual act that provides them mutual sexual gratification, versus they're doing it in public with everyone else being able to view them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's important that I word it this way because it doesn't matter whether or not they're just kissing or holding hands or fisting. Their intent doesn't matter. It's looking at like how does everyone else perceive them.
Now, you see, I would say that is so. I guess that there's like two meaningful distinctions here. So, like from a deontological, all right. So I'm using obvious language now. From a deontological perspective, like we can change around this hypothetical. All right. Like let's play with the two situations you described. Let's say that we have like a group, like a couple that is sitting on a park bench, kissing, and they have like, I don't know, like this kink or like whatever. Like it actually, like just the act of kissing and not even deep throating, just like kind of making out or like just like very casually kissing. It looks like it's romantic. Like,
hang on.
That brings them to.
Do you see something off here? I see something very, very off. I want to point real quick at something that I think might be odd. Why are they so dilated? Why are her eyes so dilated? Can anyone tell me that? Is she like on Molly or something right now? Or like dropping acid? What is going on? Yeah, right. Now I activate deontological, which means your monsters can't attack for 3 turns. Soon I will draw all the pieces of Exodia and create my ultimate Charizard. Yes, then you will see no kink belongs at Pride. Something like that, right?
Orgasm? Let's say that we have that situation, and then we have two people who are literally like close off fisting each other in public. I would say that the latter is going to be more harmful, but I would say that both of them are harmful categorically, since they, if they're happening in public, violate everyone's autonomy. I think that the latter category causes more harm, but I think that they both are categorically causing harm.
And in my opinion, if in the first example, if two people kissing, if like just by chance it brings like both of them to orgasm and no one notices, versus the second one, to me, if no one notices that it brings those two people to orgasm, if no one notices, it caused zero societal harm because of the nature of like human perception.
Yep.
If you don't perceive something, it didn't harm you. And this is
Yep. That's 100% right. If you don't see somebody coming in their own pants, guess what? It doesn't affect you. It's not your business. Who cares? Who cares if that person happens to be nearby you and happens to come in their pants? Who cares? Because you didn't see it. You're not affected by it. And another thing that's striking me here is her odd behaviors, right? With the grabbing of the hair. I'm not going to go into this because I'm not a behavioral psychologist, but based on like the information I saw with the pupils being so dilated and then her getting uncomfortable about this.
Why, again, I hope it's not misinterpreted that I'm trying to defend people doing sexual acts in public. But what I'm saying is, just in this scenario, the perception of the public is more important in determining societal harm than intent.
Then I need you to tell me why that is bad. Like, if you're gonna sit here and tell me that, like, okay, it causes zero societal harm, but also you're completely focused.
Honey, no, that's your job to tell him why it's bad. That's your job, because that's what you're saying. It's your job to tell him why that's bad.
Just on societal harm, as you said earlier, but you would still condemn it happening in public. Why do you condemn it in public if it doesn't meet any threshold for harm, which is what you said earlier that you focus on?
Well, hold on, because in this scenario, I would not condemn two people kissing in public if it didn't bother anyone else.
But it's more than that. It's kissing in public, specifically engaging with the intent of engaging in a sexual act.
Because if no one noticed, it caused no societal harm. Like, objectively, it caused no societal harm.
Yeah.
All right, but now we can. All right, so what if we? All right, so then let's change the scenario. Now now they've brought their 1 month.
Wait, now she's moving the goalpost. Now she has to move the goalpost. See, I'm done with this. I'm gonna end stream here because it's getting too late and I've already spent 2 hours on this fucking bullshit. But she's, again, every time she's like confronted with something that totally counters like what she's saying, that totally goes against whatever logical definition she wants to finagle herself into. Every time she gets confronted with that, she just moves the goalpost to something else. Oh, well, let's say it's something else. Oh, well, let's say, well, what about this scenario? Oh, what about this scenario? Oh, what about this scenario? No, I'm done. Okay? Unless you can prove that there's harm, shut up about it. I'm done. Okay? That's going to be the end of this video. Then the end of the stream. Excuse me. Thank you all so much for coming out. Appreciate all this. I'm done with the discourse. It's verifiably proven that she has no idea what she's talking about and is only grifting. I mean, there's no reason to continue doing this kind of fucking bullshit where she keeps going back and forth and floundering back and forth and keep moving the goalpost further back every time she gets confronted. Never wants to provide any evidence for harm. Yeah, okay. Well, whatever. When Riley can provide some evidence for harm, then I'll entertain her arguments. But until then, just a grifter. Don't pay attention to her. Nothing of value there at all. So, have a good night. See you all later. Bye-bye.